Just because Minecraft has a huge fandom and is one of the most popular games the world over doesn't mean that it hasn't suffered from errors that many consider disturbing and at times annoying. Welcome back, my fellow gamers. This is Top 10 Gaming, and today we'll be taking a look at some of the scary Minecraft mistakes somehow left in the game. Let's get counting. Number 10. Hand glitches. In Bedrock Edition, there were initially some pretty creepy things happening when it came to how your hands interacted with items. Things like food, shields, tools like pickaxes, and weapons like the bow would move into strange positions on the screen, going far off to the side or disappearing completely. This would also affect your visuals when it came to holding a shield and crouching, because the placement of the items seemed to be bugging out whenever you held them. Crouching with a shield would therefore mean that the shield would appear much larger, affecting your view. Not only are these glitches annoying for visuals, but they're also kinda creepy, implying you have no control over your limbs or that they are moving into weird and maybe disturbing positions while holding items and interacting with them. I also love that one of the fixes for this that people suggested was like, just disable your hands, which is also just like, totally makes sense in the game but is a creepy thing to say to people. Number 9. First use fail. In Bedrock Edition, one of the mistakes or bugs in the game you will likely have seen is that if you create a tool, the first time you go to use it, it actually won't work. Why is this? I assume because it needs to be warmed up first or something, in terms of like actual trying to rationalize what's going on. It's a very strange bug, but the good news is on your second use of said tool it should work just fine. This bug is more strange and annoying than scary, but could definitely be considered as a weird mistake that was left in the game, as most bugs and glitches are. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more Minecraft lists from us, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8. Mystery items. Something that is strange that used to happen frequently in terms of mistakes being left was when developers would forget during updates to remove items from spawned players. Meaning when players updated their games, they would often spawn and notice that they'd have strange and random items in their inventory. This is because developers didn't have commands that they could use for items when playing around in the development stage. So instead, they would just equip them to players that they could then spawn and experiment with the items. However, when they forgot to take this out of the code before the update, this translated to players in-game spawning with weird mystery items with no idea as to where they came from. Kinda spooky. It got to the point, according to lead designer Jens Bergenston, that they would have to create a release document with a reminder note to remove these items prior to the update's release. That's how much of a problem it was for them forgetting it. Number 7. Duplicate any item. One of the glitches that had everyone talking in Minecraft 1.17 was the damaged Anvil duplication glitch. This glitch allows you to duplicate any, and I mean any item that you want using a damaged anvil, a bunch of inconsequential identical items, and whatever you want to duplicate basically. You can duplicate even the most valuable of items and even do so with said items in a stack. In other words, you could grab a giant stack of diamonds and duplicate those on repeat until your anvil breaks, which has a predicted 12% chance of happening with this glitch. How is this scary? Well, because the possibilities here are endless. You could duplicate so many things. You could duplicate literally anything. Even scary rare items if you like. All the haunted creepy items that you could possibly ask for. I'm just thinking of like all the little like broken records that you can duplicate. Ugh. Number 6. Giant mobs. Giant mobs were initially coded into the game but later removed, probably because they were a mistake. Still, they became popular among certain fans who still look to specific commands and mods in order to include giants in their games. If you do happen to want this spooky, potentially mistake creature in your game, you can use the summon command to bring them up. They appear as giant zombies and are horrifying to come across, which is likely why they were removed initially after the 1.7 update, and likely why it was considered to have been a mistake to have included them in the first place. Number 5. Fistful of blocks, or rather, a lack thereof. This mistake that pops up in Minecraft 1.17 still seems to prevent you from grabbing blocks that should be or appear to be within your reach. While breaking blocks that you are standing on, it appears as though you should be able to grasp them even though they fall away from you. If you're fast enough, they still appear to break and the block pops upwards almost in reaction to your break, but even if you attempt to grab said block, if you are fast enough, it will not be attainable and will fall down to the level below nonetheless. This mistake is frightening in the sense of how annoying it can get, as it seems as though you should be able to grab the block before it falls based on the distance it appears to be from you momentarily. It's like some weird thing where you're like, is my hand phasing through this block? What's happening? And so you are forced to let the block fall below, and then yourself you'd actually have to go down and collect any blocks that you've broken afterwards you've broken all the ones you want to break. This might seem intentional, but then why does it appear as though you could actually grab grab said block, like that's what it looks like visually. That's the part that makes it feel like this was a big mistake. If they didn't want you to grab it, they should make it literally look like it's too far, like it falls too fast. They have the tools, I'm sure, to do that. Number 4. Phantom mobs. While phantom mobs have never been explicitly considered a mistake by developers or programmers of Minecraft, many fans of Minecraft feel as though this creation was a mistake. The reason for this is that in order to avoid phantoms, you need to sleep at least once every 3 days, which many feel gets in their way of in-game progress and is hugely annoying. And if you choose to avoid sleeping because you want to work at night, your progress will still be affected by phantoms who will then spawn and distract you, of course, by attacking you, unless you've turned off the do insomnia game rule in-game. Phantoms are not just creepy and nightmarish, but they're also a major disruptor when it comes to gameplay for those uninterested in fighting them, which it feels like is pretty much everyone at this point. Number 3. Breaking Bedrock. Bedrock in survival mode is intended to be an unbreakable material, unless you happen to be using cheats, of course. But even though it was never intended to be breakable without breaking the rules of the game, there are ways around this. No, I'm not talking about super strength, I'm talking about exploiting in-game glitches to punch right through and destroy this supposedly unbreakable bedrock. There are a few different methods that are still deemed usable currently, I believe. One is the TNT trapdoor and piston method, the other involves using portals or portals with clay, small drip leaves, bone meal, and shears, and another still involves powder snow. Bedrock was meant to never be broken, and yet exploiting glitches horrifically means you can do so with just yourself, some ingenuity, and some items and tools. Number 2. Phasing through Bedrock. Phasing through Bedrock is not usually something advisable in the Bedrock edition of the game, and even outside of that edition is considered a kind of odd choice in comparison with breaking Bedrock. However, there can be a few specific times that phasing through is actually preferred to breaking through unbreakable Bedrock, although both kind of give you the same result in my opinion. You can phase through Bedrock in a few different ways, such as using a boat or using a ladder in combination with an ender pearl, although the second method will damage you a bit on your arrival. I think there's another method where you can just use ender pearls, but this is another one that also could damage you because ender pearls. And you really do need to make sure you have clear intentions and are prepared before you attempt this, because moving through the bedrock leaves you on the roof of the nether. If you are unprepared, there will be nothing there for you and no way out, meaning the only way to escape would be through death. Especially bad news if you're playing on hardcore mode. Number 1. Creepers. When creepers were made, it was actually not intentional at all. They were a mistake. The way Notch programs is basically all in code. He doesn't use model programs. When he created the creepers, it was therefore by mistake, as he had messed up the height of the creature that he had intended to be a pig. Hence why creepers have 4 little feet. However, Notch liked the design and decided to embrace it, turning the creature green and making creepers a thing. But still, originally these terrifying Minecraft-based monsters started out as a coding error. A coding error that was left in the game and then wholly embraced by, I think, many Minecraft players. What are some of your favorite in-game mistakes or glitches? Which mistakes do you love and which do you wish never existed? What is your favorite thing to do in Minecraft when you're playing? Let us know in the comments below. This is Top 10 Gaming and I am your host Amanda McKnight. Till next time, keep your villagers close and your pigmen closer, and remember to keep on gaming on. Pew pew!